wellness revolution starts now.
Hello, I'm Dr. Steve Hotze, and welcome to today's program. I'm going to introduce you to our Director of New Guest Success, Jill Hartland. Jill's a registered nurse. I've known Jill since she was a young girl at 11-year-old. Her daddy, Charlie Hartland, has been a longtime friend of mine. And Jill worked for us when she was in high school. She worked for us during her college years, and then she went to nursing school and came back and worked for us for 5 years. After that, she ended up getting married and moving out of town and went to work in pediatric ICU. And she did that training in nurses across the country, really, in ICU, and ultimately returned to Houston, where she was charge nurse of the pediatric ICU at Texas Children's Hospital. Let me just tell you, being in an ICU and running an ICU, you've got to have really strong leadership skills, and you have to have, you've got to have some really firm and strong values and stamina, really. To work in an ICU is very, very difficult, much less run an ICU. And then in 2021, Jill decided she wanted to get back into more direct care of patients. Now, we call our patients at the Hotze Health Wellness Center guests, and when she came and visited with me, I said, Jill, why don't we make you Director of New Guest Success, New Guest Services, and help be a liaison between our guests and our physicians to help them get onboarded and be more successful on the program. And so I wanted to introduce you to Jill and ask Jill to share with us what she does here. Thanks so much for joining us, Jess. You bet.
So, yes, thank you, Dr. Hotze, for that fine introduction. So a lot of our new guests have had quite the journey even before they've crossed our door, meaning that they have been looking high and low for help, whether it's just overall with their health, from hormones to nutrition, all of these kinds of things. But also they've had quite a variety of different antecedents leading up to this, whether it was childhood illnesses, stressors in life, et cetera. And so when they come through our doors, it's such a gift to us. And I recognize and appreciate and respect the journey that many of our guests have had. So the first day is likened to, as I like to call it, a college course crammed into 5 or 6 hours. It's a lot of information that our guest will be receiving, a lot of education, and sometimes it can be very overwhelming, but at the same turn, they're also sharing a lot of information with their provider and with the team, because all details matter. What has been going on with their health matters. Your body is always talking to you. And so with that said, I like to follow up with the guest, because the initial regimen that your provider will start you on is basically an art based on what has been going on with you and your health over all of those years. And so that provider who has tons of experience, I think we've taken care of 30,000+ guests.
33,000+.
So a lot of experience with helping guests get well. They'll start a guest on a regimen, and then the science or that data comes in with the lab results. And then at 2 weeks, they have a visit, kind of marrying the art and the science of what is going on with our guest. During that time, I'm helping to support them as their body is beginning to change in response to these new hormones or new supplements that their body has been desperately needing. Your body's going to try to adjust, and I'm there to kind of help ride those waves. Rarely is healing a linear response. It's always ups and downs. Your body's going to heal in layers, and it's very dynamic. So sometimes you'll feel well, sometimes you won't. So I'm there just so long as you're moving in a forward direction. That's the end goal. So I'm there like a pleasant burr on a sock to make sure that our guests do well. So I do a lot of outreach to make sure that all of our guests are
So
doing
when you talk about the outreach, you call them on the phone, right? Regularly on a regular basis as they need it, or you can contact new guests that have come in and guests that have been onboarded by Jill can still give Jill a ring, and they give you it gives you contact here with the center without having to wait for a doctor to call you back. And the doctors, of course, get very busy, and that's why Jill provides that. She's a liaison for you, and frankly, she's as bright as any doctor in the country. She's got so much experience, not only in what she did in pediatric ICU and the type of medical care she provided there, but in the care we provide here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center. She understands and knows this like the back of her hand, and she's well capable of providing recommendations for you to keep you on that path of health and wellness. That's our goal, is for you to get on a path of health and wellness naturally, without all the pharmaceutical drugs the pharmaceutical companies and the conventional medical industry wants to shove down your throat. We want you to be off those. We want you to get on a natural program, and that's where our program really involves. We have an 8-point treatment regimen. We treat for airborne and food allergies when those are indicated. We treat with treatment of yeast, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. That's very important. Then we also treat with natural thyroid hormone supplementation, natural sex hormone replacement, balancing out the sex hormones, vitamin and mineral supplementation, nutritionally balanced eating, and exercise program. All this is to get you on a path of health and wellness naturally. Now, talk about how important our healthy eating program is.
That to me is it's my personal favorite, and it's probably because I went through my own health hell, so to speak, and a lot of it, actually all of it, was tied to my gut health. And so, and to me, the gut is the heart of health. If you do not have a healthy gut, it's very unlikely that everything is going to work as optimally as it can in your body. So when you're constantly having this and it's a yeast-free cleanse. And by
the way, let me explain how you get yeast in your system. Your colon, large bowel, contains trillions of bacteria live in there, and also some yeast lives in there. They live in balance. Anytime you've ever had an infection or a cough or congestion, you go to the doctor and they give out antibiotics like they're candy. And those antibiotics are meant to kill bad bacteria. Unfortunately, they kill healthy bacteria. And the healthy bacteria in a woman, it can kill the bacteria not only in the gut, but in the vagina. So they may get recurrent vaginitis. And you can clean that up with appropriate medication, but you still have yeast in the colon. And this is the same way for me. If you take antibiotics, you get yeast in the colon. It overgrows, and yeast produces toxins that depress your immune system, make you more susceptible to infections and to allergies, and you go on this cycle of illness. We get on another round of antibiotics, and then you get yeast, and you get this chronic just cycle of illness that we see in individuals. That's why it's so imperative for us to encourage our guests to get on a new eating plan. We don't ever recommend dieting. What we recommend is eating healthy. Eat to live instead of live to eat. And doing that, the first thing we want to do is clean up your gut. Get good, healthy bacteria back in your gut and eliminate the yeast as much as we possibly can. So why don't you talk about how we do that?
So it's a 90-day cleanse, right? So, and that's the life cycle of yeast in itself. You can compare that to mold or fungus. You're fumigating mold at different stages of its life cycle. And in the same case, you're also doing that with yeast. So the first 30 days is very strict, meaning you're eating basically meat and vegetables, low glycemic, and healthy fats.
And you cut out sugar because yeast grows on sugar. So that means wheat products, corn products, potatoes and rice, and any desserts and all that. Those are all simple carbohydrates that convert to sugar. Yeast grows on sugar. Right. That's why when people come into to us, they come, well, I get bloating and I get gas and all that. Well, they got yeast, and so every time they take in a product that converts to sugar, the yeast processes that and produces the gas. So you've got to clean up your gut. So
yeast love sugar. I fondly, not so fondly, call them yeasty beasties in the gut because they really enjoy and thrive on sugar. So we focus hard the first 30 days as far as eliminating that, and that includes fruit. Now,
because fruit is fructose.
Fruit is sugar.
Fructose is sugar.
And your gut doesn't know the difference. It's not going, oh, it's fruit. It's a healthy sugar. It just sees it as sugar. And so sometimes when guests are, can add that fruit back in, their bodies still are not well enough to be able to tolerate fruit. And this is about listening to your body. It's kind of like that adage, just because you can doesn't mean that you should, because everybody's body is very different in how it responds to nutrition. So there's a lot of guests that I find do not tolerate adding fruit in at that juncture, and they have to give their body a little bit more time. But again, this is like where I come in. I help navigate. I help identify, how you're feeling, how you're doing, and then we pivot your regimen according to how your body is responding. 90 days, and then I know holidays are coming up, and again, your gut doesn't know that it's the holidays. It's Christmas. Let's have pumpkin pie. It's a lot of your mind knows. So I want to help navigate priorities, as you're doing the yeast cleanse through the holidays as well. So I provide that kind of support as far as identifying what's meaningful to you, what your goals are, and then folding that into your regimen.
And of course, she also helps you implement the regimen program of adding hormones in, whether it's thyroid or your female hormones or males, their testosterone, and the vitamins and minerals, and Jill helps you plan and we write down a regimen for you, but she helps you implement that regimen so you get the best value and you best tolerate, and then she can help make adjustments in conjunction with the doctor. She can help make adjustments on your hormones or on your vitamins and minerals, and that's so very important. That's why. And that's how we differentiate ourselves here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center from other offices, conventional medicine, obviously, because all they want to do is give you pharmaceutical drugs and spend a few minutes with you and give you a drug for whatever symptom you have. But if you do go to other doctors that attempt to and may try to help you with natural approaches to health, they may have a good regimen, but they don't have the staffing and they don't have the expertise that we have here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center with individuals who have the expertise, like Jill Hartland, who is really our director of health success for all our new guests. So when you come to the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, you'll get to know not only your provider, but you'll get to know Jill well and the other members of our staff. Our whole goal is to help you have more energy, vitality, and enthusiasm for life as you mature. So you have a better quality of life. We feel like if you're going to be alive, you might as well feel alive. And that's what we're committed to helping you do. So, Jill, I want to thank you for the great work you do here with our guests. And you've made a huge difference over the last 2 years with your hands-on with our guests. It's made a huge difference. And if any one of you would like to get yourself on a path of health and wellness naturally, I want to encourage you to give us a call here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, 281-698-8698. That's the number on the bottom of the screen. And I'd like to also offer to give you a copy of my book, Hormones, Health, and Happiness. Just call us up at the number on the screen. Tell them you saw the podcast. And if you'd like a copy of the book, Hormones, Health, and Happiness, we'll be glad to send you that free of charge without any shipping costs. I want you to understand what you can do to be healthy. That's what we're committed to doing. And if we can provide that service for you here, then don't hesitate to give us a call. Thank you again, Jill, for joining us.
Sir.
And thank each one of you for joining us today.
At Physicians Preference Pharmacy, we understand that the quality of your compounded medications directly affects the way you feel, which is why we believe that your pharmacy should specialize in compounding medications while also delivering extraordinary hospitality and guest service. We believe that both patients and prescribers should accept nothing less than consistency and quality from their compounding pharmacy. This is why we've implemented some of the strictest quality standards in compounding, exceeding standard requirements, achieving PCAB accreditation. which is the Pharmacy Compounding Accreditation Board, an organization that sets the highest standards in compounding pharmacy regarding the safety, cleanliness, and quality of your compounded prescriptions. Because of our commitment to complete health and wellness, we are dedicated to making your medications free of lactose, parabens, artificial sweeteners, and any unnecessary dyes, binders, or fillers present in many other medications, offering you the cleanest products possible.
Information provided on this program is neither intended nor implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice and is not intended to replace the services of a physician, nor does it constitute a doctor-patient relationship. You should not use information from this radio program to diagnose or treat a health problem or disease without consulting with a qualified healthcare provider. If you have or suspect you have an urgent medical problem, promptly contact a professional healthcare provider or call 911. Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution advises you to always seek the advice of a physician or other qualified health provider prior to starting any new treatment or with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Any application of the recommendations from this program is at the listener's discretion.